Okay, so I'm going to go in and out a little bit there. And again, back to my hair. The lines are this length. And they're going up this way. And I'm going to let them get lighter, lighter. The other thing is, so because I've got a line up here on the top of the head right now, I do not want that there. There's no outlines. So let me erase that. And when I go to this edge, I'm not going to stop too suddenly. Let me show you this drawing again. You can see one of the ways this looks furry is because it's got a nice jaggedy edge up here too. So once I get to the top, the longer the fur, kind of the more jagged the edge. And so I'm gonna go back, again, that's just the first layer. And I'm gonna go back and add the second layer. And I'm gonna keep doing this for the whole thing. So once again, when I get to the end of that snout, I don't want a perfect straight edge, I want a jagged edge. That helps to show it's furry. And we want to go a little bit darker. See, there's no outline right there. It's just a change in value. So by having the snout a little bit lighter and the face a little bit darker, where's my fur come? Again, it's coming out that way, sideways out here. So just by changing the value for the different parts, you're going to help communicate the 3-dimension. Okay, so remember, we're getting lighter as we're getting higher up. You always just got to remember what form we're doing. And so suddenly last week's little drawings about how do you shade cylinders and spheres, you can see that's the basis for this drawing, because I'm doing that dark to light thing. I'm just doing it in fur now. So it's just a little bit darker beside the snout. And going out here. Wow, what a difference that makes. Look at the difference from where we put the fur to the bottom. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for his ears. And again, make sure you don't have an outline out here. We don't want any lines. Outlines make things look cartoony, and we're trying to look realistic. So I'm taking my lines, and we want to go darker down here. It's going to help to bend the ear a little bit. And same for this one. I'm just going to go ahead and lighten the top a bit. And go ahead and do my fur. And I'm going to continue to do this. I'm not going to keep talking about it as I do it. You can keep watching, you can speed up, but I'm going to just always observe the direction of the fur. I'm going to go ahead and do his belly, and I'll do his paws. And then when I get to the bottom, I will start talking again when I do this fur. And then I'll talk you through this fabric here. So all the fur is coming out from the middle, and it's going in all these directions. I guess I do have to kind of talk it through, because you guys can't really see the bear that well. There, I'll try to do that. Okay, so I built up my first layer. Now I'm gonna start going to the darker spots. And building up a second layer. The more layers you do, just the better it's going to look. You guys are being given lots of time to do these assignments. You know, try not to rush it. Try to do your best, you know, so that you're proud of your accomplishment, and then you're able to see that you can in fact draw. It's got some few basic skills, and time, I think, is the most important part, is understanding that the more time you kind of put into it, you're gonna see the results. Okay, so I definitely wanna get darker down in here, underneath his chin. So just by adding more fur, I'm getting darker, but I'm also pressing down a little bit more. To start to get this bear to look three-dimensional. Okay, for his paw, the fur is going up and out this way, and then it's going down and out this way. So up we go. And when I get to the bottom, I can go a little bit darker. And then his fur starts to kind of go down this way. The other thing is just a reminder that his fur was a little bit darker beside that fabric. So I'm gonna just kind of go back. This is kind of cool. And I'm just putting my pencil down and flicking up a little bit. So once again, I'm touching and then just kind of doing these little flicks. And it creates a little bit of darker value down there next to the fabric. Do this a little bit bigger for you. All right. So you can kind of see the difference, the before and after on the paws. That is something that's shaded, but it doesn't have the correct texture. So by adding the fur, we're taking it to that next step. Okay, so this one, the fur is coming up and out here, and then it's actually kind of coming up here, and then it starts to go down this way. So here we go. So nice jagged edges around the outside. Again, the longer the fur, the longer the hair, the more jagged the edge is going to be. This direction, lighter on top, darker on the bottom. And then I'm switching this way. We're getting there. Okay, so for this foot, now you can actually just have the foot right there. You can see that the fur is all coming right out from the pad. So I'm gonna go ahead again. I don't want that to be an outline. I'm gonna get rid of, just got one or two little lines that are still there. Get rid of those. Then it comes around this way. So right here, the foot should be lighter than the stomach was, and that's how we're gonna see where the foot ends, next to that stomach. But if not, we can just do that jagged little edge again. So I'm gonna go back to the tummy, and I'm just gonna darken it a bit. Just here and there. We don't want a solid line. And then right now it's reading as a line because I did all these low short lines. So again, we want to blend it in, slowly, gradually change from dark to light. So you can do that with fur. There, now you can clearly see the lighter fur of the foot now looks like it's in front of the darker fur of the stomach. All right, and let's just do this foot. Okay, so once again, the hair is coming up, out, and around from the foot. It's coming this way, and then it's just kind of as an angle this way when it gets down to this part. Just put it up here, you can see it a bit. So I'm going to start getting all my fur sticking out a bit down here at the bottom. And then on this side, sticks up this way. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna go a little bit darker over here. Nice jagged little edge. So we can see where the tummy stops and the foot starts. And what else do we need? I'm just a little bit more shading down here at the bottom. Bottom of spheres and cylinders. That's how we get things to look nice and round. Okay, looking way better. So you can tell right here, I only did one layer of fur on this foot and it shows. It's just not as good as it looks when you have at least the 2 layers, if not 3 layers. So I'm gonna go back in here. It just does not look as good. I did it a little too fast. And I'm gonna go back in there and add that other layer. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do is just the fabric that's on the paws. And it's actually a little bit of a really short fur is what it is. So we're just gonna make it fairly smooth and we're just gonna bend it around the edges a little bit. Okay, so good. Smooth textures, we should be good at those by now. So use the side of your pencil. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use the Kleenex just to blend a nice, soft, smooth texture. And then we want to just get a little bit darker around the edges. That's going to help to make the fabric look like it's bent. Because right now, remember, one value means flat. We want to round this up a little bit. Maybe I'll switch to a smudgy. There we go. So I'm just going to go around the edges. And then I'm just going to blend it so it's not an outline. We just want to kind of slowly go. Switch back to a Kleenex. And you can see that there's definitely a difference in the texture. And now I'm going to go back in and just darken right around those edges a little bit. And let me zoom in here. So you can see the difference here as I've gone back in and added just these little, almost like short little hairs around the outside. And that's really starting to bend. So when you look down here, it goes from the fabric to the fur, and it's kind of flat, right? So every time something dips in, we want it to be darker, just like over here. So by going back around the outside and just adding a little bit of darkness to it. Like I said, we don't want to end up with an outline. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting a couple of dots here and there to darken it a bit. It really makes a difference. Okay, so we can do the same thing for the other foot. I'm gonna go ahead and do my one paw, my other paw. Smooth them out. And then just go back in and add the same thing, the shading on the edges. Again, I'm trying to do this pretty fast. Because it's for a lesson. And there you go. At this point, I would go back. I think his nose, I'm going to darken his nose just a little bit more at the top. It doesn't really get darker at the top in real life, but at some point, for the sake of your drawing, you kind of got to do things like that to fix them up a little bit.